the officer's knuckles rapped against the driver's side window, sharp, impatient. The man inside barely flinched, his fingers, resting on the steering wheel, remained still. "License and registration," Officer Bradley Larson ordered, his voice carrying the weight of authority. The driver turned his head, slow and deliberate, revealing a face far too composed for someone being stopped by law enforcement. He did not scramble for documents. He did not protest. He simply observed. Larson's jaw tightened. He hated that look, the silent defiance. He had seen it before. Young guys in nice suits were driving expensive cars through neighborhoods they did not belong in. He had a job to do. "Is there a problem, officer?" The man's voice was calm. Too calm. Larson scoffed. "Yeah, you were swerving back there, almost hit the curb." The driver's brow lifted slightly, the only indication of amusement. "That's so?" Larson's patience thinned. He tapped the roof of the car. "Step out. Let's make this easy." A pause. Then the door creaked open. The man emerged, straightening his blazer, exuding a quiet confidence that tightened Larson's grip around his belt. "What's your name?" "Eric." "Eric what?" The man smiled. "You will find out soon enough." Larson's eyes flickered with irritation. Another one of those. He jerked his chin toward the hood. "Hands where I can see them." Eric complied, placing his palms flat. His watch glinted under the streetlights, sleek, expensive. "You know," Larson mused, circling him, "guys like you think money means rules do not apply." Eric said nothing. Larson leaned in. "You are not special." Eric finally spoke, voice measured. "Neither are you." Larson's smirk faded. Something was off. Larson folded his arms, his stance wide, dominating the space between them. The cold night air carried the scent of asphalt and faint exhaust, but Eric showed no signs of discomfort. He remained still, controlled. "Got a reason for being out this late?" Larson asked, voice edged with suspicion. Eric tilted his head slightly. "Does it matter?" Larson smirked. "Yeah, it does." He pulled out his notepad, flipping it open with exaggerated ease. He wanted to see it, that flicker of unease. But Eric did not shift and did not break eye contact. "Driving an expensive car," Larson muttered, eyeing the sleek black vehicle. "Wearing a suit, no ID in hand, smells like trouble." Eric exhaled softly, a barely there laugh. "That's a stretch, officer." Larson's fingers twitched at his side. He hated the way this man spoke, like he was untouchable. He had seen this type before, the ones who thought respect was optional, who thought flashing wealth meant the rules bent for them. "You seem real relaxed for someone being pulled over," Larson remarked, pacing around the car. His boots scraped against the pavement. Eric shrugged. "Should I be nervous?" Larson's jaw ticked. The defiance was not blatant, but it was there, simmering beneath the surface. "You tell me," Larson said, stepping closer. "You hiding something?" Eric's expression did not change, but his fingers curled slightly against the hood. "Spread your legs," Larson ordered. "Hands flat. I'm going to check for weapons." For the first time, Eric hesitated. Larson's grin returned. "There it is." "Problem?" Larson pressed. Eric's jaw tightened. "I would prefer not to be searched without cause." Larson chuckled. "Oh, I got plenty of cause. Suspicious behavior. No immediate compliance. Questioning a direct order." He leaned in, voice dropping. "I can take you in right now if you want." Eric's shoulders tensed, but his voice remained steady. "That won't be necessary." "Good." Larson patted him down, slower than necessary, letting the silence stretch. He wanted Eric to feel small, to know who was in charge. Nothing, no weapon, no contraband, just an expensive watch, a sleek wallet, and the distinct scent of wealth leather, cologne, and quiet confidence. Larson stepped back, barely masking his irritation. "Where's your ID?" "In my wallet." "Should have handed it over sooner." Larson flipped it open, expecting some generic name, but his eyes caught something else. A business card, tucked neatly inside. The logo was familiar: Platinum Express Couriers, the largest private delivery service in the city. Larson narrowed his eyes. "You work for them?" Eric's lips parted, about to respond. A voice crackled through Larson's radio. "Dispatch to Unit 45. Be advised that Platinum Express just contacted HQ. They reported harassment of one of their executive officers." Larson's stomach dropped. He looked at Eric. The man smiled. "Now, officer, would you like to try that search again?" Larson's grip tightened around the wallet. His jaw clenched as his gaze flickered between Eric and the business card. The name beneath the Platinum Express Couriers logo was printed in crisp, bold letters: Eric Langston, Chief Executive Officer. Larson's breath hitched, but he masked it with a scoff. No way. This guy? He was just another smug city slicker in a tailored suit, thinking a little money made him invincible. He closed the wallet with a snap, shoving it against Eric's chest. "So you deliver packages?" he sneered. "That's supposed to impress me?" Eric took the wallet without a word, slipping it back into his blazer. His expression did not shift. He had not flinched, had not broken eye contact. That alone irked Larson more than the title on the card. "You're awfully calm," Larson continued, stepping closer, just enough to invade Eric's space. "For a man about to be cuffed." Eric exhaled slowly, eyes scanning Larson's stance. "On what charge?" Larson smirked, circling him like a predator. "Resisting an officer." A small chuckle left Eric's lips. "I have complied with every request." "Attitude says otherwise," Larson shot back. Eric shook his head, his posture still relaxed. "Let's be honest, officer. This stop was never about traffic violations. You had something to prove the second you knocked on my window." Larson's face darkened, his fingers twitched near his belt where his handcuffs rested. "Watch yourself, Langston." A sudden gust of wind rushed through the street, rustling the trees lining the curb. The city was quiet at this hour, too quiet. Eric let the silence linger, then his gaze flickered to the badge, clipped to Larson's uniform. "You enjoy this, don't you?" Larson's brows furrowed. "Excuse me?" "The power, the control," Eric continued. "Men like you." He paused, assessing. "You don't stop people like me because you suspect a crime. You do it because you need to feel bigger than the man standing in front of you." Larson's nostrils flared. "You think you know me?" "I know your type." Larson's hands balled into fists at his sides. His heart pounded against his ribs. Who did this guy think he was? "You like pushing people, officer," Eric said, his voice almost conversational. "The uniform makes you feel untouchable, but you never stop to think about what happens when you push the wrong man." Larson's lips curled into a snarl. "I pushed exactly the right one." He grabbed Eric's wrist, yanking it behind his back. "Hands where I can see them," he barked. Eric winced, but did not resist. His breathing remained steady. "You sure about this?" "Dead sure." The cold steel of the handcuff snapped around one wrist. Larson reached for the other. "Unit 45, stand down." The voice over the radio was sharp, authority-laced. Larson froze. The dispatcher never used that tone, not with him. Static crackled. Then, "Officer Larson, you are being ordered to release the individual immediately. Do you copy?" A sick feeling coiled in Larson's gut. His eyes snapped to Eric, who simply raised a brow. The radio buzzed again. "Unit 45, do you copy?" Larson swallowed hard. He clicked the receiver, his voice strained. Copy. Eric flexed his fingers as Larson reluctantly unclasped the cuff. He rubbed his wrist where the metal had bitten into his skin, watching the officer with quiet amusement. You were saying? Eric asked. Larson's pulse thundered in his ears. His grip tightened around the cuffs, the metal digging into his palm. This was not over. Not yet. Larson's fingers twitched near his belt as he locked eyes with Eric. The weight of the radio's command still rang in his ears. This was not how it was supposed to go. Eric exhaled, shaking out his wrist, as if shaking off Larson's authority with it. He took a step forward, not aggressive, not smug, just measured. His calmness burned more than any insult could. You seem tense, officer, Eric said, voice steady. Larson squared his shoulders. You got lucky? Eric tilted his head slightly, studying him. Is that what you think? Larson's jaw clenched. He was not in the wrong. He had been doing his job. This guy, this smug, polished executive, was just another suit trying to twist things. The radio crackled again. Unit 45, you are now under internal review. Return to the station immediately. Larson's stomach twisted. Eric took a slow step forward. That sounds serious. Larson barely held his ground. His instincts screamed at him to regain control, to assert dominance, but the shift had already happened. The moment he had reached for those cuffs, the ground beneath him had crumbled. Eric let the silence drag. Let Larson feel it. Then he pulled something from his pocket, smooth, black, and unmistakable. A company ID badge. Larson's breath hitched as his eyes locked onto the title beneath Eric's name. Founder and CEO, Platinum Express Couriers. Not an employee, not a manager, the owner. Eric let the weight of the moment sink in before he spoke. You do know my company handles high-priority shipments for law enforcement, right? Larson's throat went dry. Evidence transport, Eric continued. Sensitive case files. Even federal contracts. Larson felt his palms dampen. Eric took another step. So tell me, officer, what do you think happens when the department hears that you unlawfully detained the man responsible for their logistics? Larson's pulse pounded in his ears. You stopped me tonight because you saw a man in a car that you thought did not belong to him, Eric said. And now you are realizing that you just made the biggest mistake of your career. The final nail. Larson's fingers twitched. The world around him shrank. He had never felt this before, not here, not in uniform. Powerless. Larson stood frozen, the weight of the business card burning against his palm. The crisp, embossed letters of Platinum Express Couriers mocked him, each stroke of ink a reminder of the mistake he could not erase. His radio crackled again. Unit 45, do you copy? Return to the station immediately. The street suddenly felt smaller, the cool night air pressing against his uniform. His fingers curled into a fist, crushing the card in his palm, but it was no use. The damage was done. He had lost. Eric Langston did not have to say another word. His silence was enough. He exhaled sharply, shook his head, and turned towards his sleek black car. His movements were precise and controlled. He did not rush, did not stumble. Every step was a quiet reminder that he had won. Larson's jaw clenched so tightly it ached. He had spent years building himself into the kind of officer that never got second-guessed, the kind that dictated every encounter. Yet here he was, stripped bare in the span of a single night. Eric reached for the door handle and then paused. Without looking back, he spoke. You know, he said, voice level, this was not personal, but you made it personal. Larson stiffened, his hand twitching near his belt. You think you can just walk away? Eric turned, resting his forearm against the car roof. The soft glow of the streetlights cast sharp shadows across his face. "I already did." Larsen's throat tightened. "You pulled me over tonight because you thought you had the power," Eric continued, his tone never rising. "But real power is not about forcing control. It is about knowing when you do not have to use it at all." The words struck deep, sinking into places Larsen did not want to acknowledge. Eric straightened. "I could press charges," he said, rolling his shoulders back. "I could have your badge on my desk by morning." Larsen bristled, but Eric did not stop. "I could make a call and every officer at your precinct would know exactly who you crossed tonight." A pause. "And so would your captain." Larsen swallowed hard. He knew what that meant. Eric finally looked him in the eye. "But I will not." Larsen's brows furrowed. "Why?" Eric's gaze held steady. "Because some lessons are more powerful when they are lived instead of enforced." The words settled heavily in the space between them. Larsen could not tell if it was mercy or something worse, something that would stick to his conscience long after this night was over. Eric pulled open the car door. The interior glowed with the soft hum of dashboard lights. He slid inside, resting his hands on the wheel. Before closing the door, he turned back. "One last thing, officer." Larsen barely breathed. "You should rethink how you wear that badge." Then, without another word, Eric shut the door. The smooth purr of the engine sliced through the silence. Larsen's feet felt like lead as the taillights disappeared down the road, leaving him alone beneath the cold glow of the street lamp. His hand unclenched, the crumpled business card lay in his palm, edges wrinkled from his grip. His eyes traced over the name, Eric Langston. His stomach turned. For the first time in his career, Officer Bradley Larsen felt something creeping beneath his skin. Not anger, not defiance, regret. The drive back to the station felt longer than usual. The radio had gone silent. No chatter, no backup calls, just his breathing and the rhythmic flicker of streetlights passing overhead. He pulled into the station lot and parked, but he did not move. His hands rested on the steering wheel, knuckles white. The weight of the night clung to him, seeping into his uniform. Finally, he exhaled and stepped out. The lobby was quiet when he entered, but as soon as he reached the hallway, voices murmured in the distance. His captain stood outside his office, arms crossed. "Larsen, inside, now." No greeting, no small talk. Larsen's gut twisted. He stepped in. The door shut behind him. The captain sat, sliding a folder across the desk. "Do you know what this is?" Larsen did not answer. He did not have to. The emblem on the front said enough. Internal Affairs. The captain sighed, pinching the bridge of his nose. Langston did not file a complaint. Larsen's head snapped up. "He didn't?" "No," the captain muttered. But he did not have to. He leaned forward. "We got a call from the city attorney, and another from the commissioner's office." Larsen's throat went dry. "You do not touch people like him, Larsen," the captain said, voice low. "You do not make assumptions about people you know nothing about. And you sure as hell do not let your ego dictate your badge." Silence thickened the air. Larsen could not find his voice. The captain leaned back, rubbing his jaw. "I have no choice but to pull you from patrol duty pending review." Larsen's chest tightened. "Captain, Save it," the captain cut him off. "You're lucky to still have a job. Now get out of my office." The door clicked shut behind him. The hallway felt longer than before. Eyes followed him as he walked through the precinct. He could feel it. They knew. Larsen had spent years in control, years believing he was untouchable. Tonight, That illusion had shattered, and the worst part, no one had to tell him he had lost. He already knew. If you enjoyed this story, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. What do you think should have happened to Officer Larson? Should Eric have pressed charges? Should Larson lose his badge for good? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you love gripping, real-life stories like this, make sure you hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. Thanks for watching.